This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Tonight, PC landslide. Nova Scotians return Tim Houston's Tories to the legislature with another majority mandate.
Liberal defeat. Party leader Zach Churchill loses the race for Yarmouth by 14 votes.
And guilty plea. A Nova Scotia man admits to one charge after an investigation into the historic Shelburne County wildfire.
A quiet start to Thursday, but a messy mix tracking in late day into Thursday night with snow and rain and gusty winds. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. What a night for Tim Houston and his progressive Conservatives. The PCs secured a decisive victory, a record-breaking 43 seats in the provincial election. The NDP ended up with 9 seats, the Liberals just 2, and 1 independent.
Now the PC party is heading into a second term with an even larger majority. Taryn Grant brings us the details.
Tim Houston's progressive Conservatives are celebrating as they head into a second term. Voters delivered them a resounding election win and, according to Houston, a clear message.
And that message is very simple. Keep going. Keep going.
On the campaign trail, Houston said he would keep going with the promise he made in 2021 to fix healthcare. He also added a new promise to make life more affordable. The campaign started a month ago when Houston called a snap election. He said he needed a stronger mandate to stand up to Ottawa against the carbon tax and on other federal-provincial disputes. Houston got the stronger mandate he was looking for. With more than 2/3 of the seats, the PCs will return to Province House with a supermajority. They flipped several former Liberal ridings as that party collapsed into third place. Even Liberal leader Zach Churchill lost his seat to the Tory candidate in a tight race.
We respect the voters' decisions and accept with humility in our hearts and with peace in our hearts what they've decided tonight.
There were some historic firsts in this election. Leah Martin won the riding of Cole Harbour for the PCs and becomes the first Mi'kmaq MLA in Nova Scotia history. Elizabeth Smith-McCrossan won as an independent for the second time in a row, something no one has done before. And NDP leader Claudia Chender is the first woman to be elected as leader of Nova Scotia's official opposition. Her party picked up new seats in the Halifax area.
And I am here to tell you that the Nova Scotia NDP is on the rise.
The PCs seem to be wasting no time getting back to work. Houston has named a transition team, and his office said in a news release today that cabinet ministers will be announced soon. Taryn Grant, CBC News, Halifax.
It was a bad night for the Liberals. As just mentioned, yesterday's vote cost the party's leader his job. This morning, Elections Nova Scotia finished counting the last ballots in Yarmouth. The final tally had Liberal leader Zach Churchill finishing 14 votes behind his PC rival, Nick Hilton. Jean LaRoche has that story.
The PC candidate dropped by the local returning office to get the final tally for himself. After a brief check-in with the returning officer, he confirmed he won the riding by just 14 votes.
I couldn't have done this without my campaign team, the donors, my family and friends. Just so grateful to the people of Yarmouth for putting their trust in me.
This voter is sad to see Zach Churchill defeated and blames the loss on another Liberal leader.
Trudeau.
He's not the only one blaming the federal Liberals.
I think where the Trudeau government is,
No hard feelings from the Liberal leader who has known his PC rival since they were students at the local school.
We grew up together. Yeah, and went to St. Mary's together for a brief time as well.
As for his political future, Churchill isn't ready to say what's next just yet.
First, I've got to meet with our remaining caucus members and make a decision on how we move forward to put ourselves in the best position.
Although the numbers are unofficial, both candidates are willing to accept the numbers as they are. What's unclear is how much longer Zach Churchill will remain Liberal leader now that he's lost his seat. If he does go, a party that once had a firm grip on power back in 2021 will be looking for its third leader in under 4 years. Jean LaRoche, CBC News, Yarmouth.
The Progressive Conservatives' blue wave also washed over Cape Breton, but it was not enough to unseat the island's lone Liberal. Kyle Moore reports.
It was not until the wee hours of the morning that Liberal MLA Derek Mumbercat knew his fate. He had to fight off the PC challenger to retain his seat. The race was so tight it was after midnight when Mumbercat was sure of a win.
I would say we ran one of the best campaigns in the province when it came to the support that I've had from everyone, the support from my family, and really honored to continue to the work as the MLA here in the community.
Although relieved, Mumbercat watched as his leader and friend sang a different tune. The Liberal Party did not fare as well.
It's a difficult night. You know, some of my colleagues are gone, people I've served with for 10 years. Your family, right? You essentially become family. Whether you're on the government side or on the opposition side, you live that journey with these people.
Down the highway, the mood was much different. The riding of Northside westbound came with controversy, but in the end, Fred Tilley's decision to cross the floor to the Conservatives didn't matter among most voters.
I stand by my decision. I think it's the best decision for Northside Westmount and Cape Breton in general.
Tilley weighed in on the Liberals' monumental collapse, a party he knew well for more than 3 years after being elected as a Liberal in 2021.
I don't think the platform resonated with Nova Scotians, and I don't think the carbon tax and the federal government certainly is not a help to them. And I think that the PC plan, it was just a better plan.
Tilley says he has his eyes set on a cabinet position. Back in Sydney, Mumbercat is planning to take on a leadership role for a party looking for a new identity. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Sydney.
For the first time in a Nova Scotia provincial election, voters were able to cast their ballot on a tablet during early voting. The system was used to help speed up the counting process on Election Day and make the voting process more efficient.
There's a lot of enthusiasm about that. It's voters saying it's fast and easy, and that they like the tablet voting.
Shelton says a decision to use e-ballots in future elections will be made in the coming months after a review of the process.
All right, time for a quick check-in now with the weather forecast from Ryan Snoddon.
And some glimpses of sun.
Some glimpses of sun today and more glimpses of sun tomorrow in the first part of the day, Tom and Amy, as we are looking at a nice start to Thursday. We'll see the clouds building in, though, throughout the day and some late-day rain starting to push its way into the Tri-County area. But overall, yeah, not a bad day. And then the mess arrives. So Thursday night, this will track in as rain for the Tri-County area along the Atlantic coastline. We may see a few wet flakes mixing in, but not expecting any accumulation here closer to the Atlantic coastline. Inland, especially over higher terrain areas, this is where we're talking about accumulating snow, but a trace to 5 centimeters, so not a significant amount for most. The exception being the Colchester, Cumberland area, the Cobequid Pass in particular, and of course the Cape Breton Highlands. This is where we could see as much as 5 to 10 centimeters of snow before the transition to rain. For the most part, when we wake up on Friday morning, this will have already transitioned to rain for most of us, and that's the good news. We will be looking at perhaps some leftover slushiness in northern areas on Friday morning. We'll time that out in full detail coming up in a few minutes.
Looking forward to the details.
Right.
Okay,
Thanks,
Ryan, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The Nova Scotia man who was charged after an investigation into the historic Shelburne County wildfire has pleaded guilty to one of the charges against him in court today. But as Gareth Hampshire reports, he is not admitting that what he did actually started the massive fire.
23-year-old Dalton Stewart had initially pleaded not guilty to 3 charges under the Forests Act, but today changed that and pleaded guilty to one of those charges.
Stewart from Villagedale was not present in court today. His lawyer, Philip Starr, entered the guilty plea on his behalf. The charge his client's now admitting to is leaving a fire unattended when a fire was not completely extinguished.
What is left to be disputed and the subject of a sentencing hearing in Barrington Provincial Court is what ensued as a result of that fire being lit. So in other words, to be more specific, he is not admitting that he lit the Barrington forest fire or wildfire.
More details of what happened will come out later in a sentencing hearing. As for how Stewart started the fire he's owning up to, Starr has confirmed a tyre was involved. The Barrington Lake wildfire burned more than 23,000 hectares after it began to spread last May. About 60 structures were destroyed before it was declared under control in June, and thousands of people in the area were displaced from their homes. There's still evidence of the path the fire took through the area today. Samantha Crowell had to leave her Clyde River home for 10 days and is still cleaning up around her home. She says there are a range of feelings in the community.
It really doesn't change much for me. I hadn't been following it. I guess I look now and think it happened and we're just dealing with the aftermath of that as far as insurance and ensuring that people are housed and you know, properties repaired and whatnot. But I honestly hadn't really been following it, so I learned about it today.
The Crown is not doing interviews today, but the Crown and Defence are working on an agreed statement of facts. They expect to be completed before Stewart's next hearing, scheduled for January. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Barrington.
Mediation talks between Canada Post and the union representing postal workers have halted. The special federal mediator said earlier today the parties remain too far apart on critical issues. He's hoping a pause will give both sides a chance to reassess their positions. The two sides had been in talks since the strike began on November 15th. Last night, Canada Post accused the union of not responding, which led talks to grind to a halt. The union also accused the company of lying and deception. This is day 13 of the nationwide dispute. Many students in this province rely on getting their breakfast and lunch at school, but it's not always guaranteed they'll have something to eat on the weekends.
As Selena Alders reports, local volunteers throughout the province are stepping up to change that.
The provincial school lunch program launched earlier this year feeds students Monday to Friday. But when Doris Walton learned that some kids were going hungry on the weekends, she felt compelled to take action. That's why she started a program in Amherst that sends bags of food home with kids in need every Friday afternoon.
When I found out that there were so many children that were dealing with food insecurity here, I just knew that as an adult, I had to step up and help these children.
Her group is called after the school bell. It's modeled around a similar initiative by Food Banks Canada. She and her volunteers give out 197 bags of food each week.
It's amazing for these children to return to school on Monday not hungry anymore.
In Truro, Lola Brown and Sylvia Etsy run the backpack program. They deliver small backpacks of food to 39 students at Truro Elementary School.
I think just to be able to know that they've got some dairy and some fruit and breakfast or lunch on the weekend, I really think it makes a difference in their lives.
And we hear from the kids, it's not just the fact they're getting fed. They know people care about them. They know that every Friday someone cared enough to put this together and is looking out for them.
Melissa Higgins works at the school and says the impact is huge.
They are extremely excited and grateful for every single thing they get.
In New Minas, Gaetan Archibald and her husband oversee another version of the program. Valley After the Bell gives food to 120 students across 10 local schools every week.
My heart doesn't know how to take it. Sometimes it's bursting with joy, and I think it's just going to come out of my body. It's so rewarding.
Walton has offered some guidance to Archibald and even helped get the program going in Kingston and Spring Hill. She says she's willing to help anyone who wants to start the initiative in their community.
My mission is to offer this program in every school in Nova Scotia and beyond, to help, children that are dealing or families that are dealing with food insecurity. I want to do, that's where my heart is.
Selena Alders, CBC News, Amherst.
A look at the bright lights along the Halifax waterfront. Ryan's up next with his full weather forecast. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
RCMP in the Meteghan area say they are looking at increasing the number of officers in that part of the province.
It comes after a gunshot was fired into a home on the weekend. A bullet ripped through the exterior of lobster buyer Jeffrey Jobert's home on Saturday night in Maviolette. He believes the attack is more intimidation against some buyers and processors by organized criminals with links to illegal lobster purchasing who feel their business is being threatened in southwestern Nova Scotia.
The RCMP say they are still investigating, but Superintendent Jason Popick says in general, acts of intimidation are on the rise.
There will be a lot more money going into that area because there's a profitable fishery industry. They will target people's property for theft.
Meanwhile, for the first time, drone footage from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans in the Gulf region has been used as evidence in court.
It caught someone tampering with lobster fishing gear here in the Maritimes, and DFO is planning to expand its use of the technology in the future. The CBC's Taylor O'Brien has more.
The Department of Fisheries and Oceans in the Gulf region has been using drones since 2021. Usually it's meant to monitor fisheries, but that technology was just given a new purpose.
I like to put it in perspective. It's like having a fishery officer 300 feet in the air with a high-powered scope and a video camera.
A DFO drone caught someone on video tampering with lobster fishing gear, and for the first time, that footage was used as evidence in a court case. Last month, a person was sentenced a $5,000 fine and got suspended for the first 7 days of next year's lobster fishing season. McEwen says the drone expands the department's presence and surveillance.
So we have different views. We can see a little bit farther, and especially when you're talking about here on PEI where we're surrounded by water, the capabilities of it are endless.
McEwen says gear tampering is common in the PEI lobster fishing industry, and DFO officers dedicate many hours to these kinds of incidents.
It depends on the area, depends on the year. But for the last number of years, it's been a major issue in our area.
DFO has drones of different sizes, and some can even have night vision. The added technology complements the rest of the department's surveillance program.
So we have our planes and our helicopters that are monitoring the fisheries, but now we also have our drones where we can have fishery officers operate these inland and also during our coastal fisheries.
McEwen says using the drones will help protect fishery resources, and DFO has plans to use them further in the future. Taylor O'Brien, CBC News, Stratford.
Well, I think most of us would agree that the sun was appreciated today.
Yes, we definitely needed it. How long can we hang on to it, though?
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's the
sound
thing.
like much.
And folks in Cape Breton and eastern parts of the mainland didn't see any really today, but the western parts of the province cleared out pretty nicely. Central saw, again, a little bit of sun in the metro area. But yeah, tomorrow, a little more widespread, especially in the east where you did not see it today. So we're all getting a little taste. And then, of course, the unsettled weather for tomorrow night. Let's have a look at, we're going to start with the warnings, the statements, that is, in place for Inverness, Victoria County, special weather statement, as well as Cumberland County. This is where we have the best chance of that 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, as you saw earlier with my snowfall map. We'll show you that again in a moment. Temperatures out there right now, 2 in Parsboro, 3 in Amherst. It's 7 in Lunenburg, it's 6 in Canso, and 6 in Sydney, and in Yarmouth as well. And you can see we have been looking at a couple of those showers that are moving through the central parts of the province over the last hour or two. The skies have been clearing over the west. That's where we did see a solid mix of sun and cloud today over western areas. That cloud pretty thick still across Cape Breton and eastern parts of the mainland, but we'll continue to see those skies clearing overnight and more sun in the mix for you folks for tomorrow. As we back things out, this is the system that we're going to be watching that's going to be bringing us the mostly rain but wintry mix for tomorrow night and into Friday morning. And boy, that cold air just continues to plunge into the U.S. 3 in Kansas City, 1 in Denver, but how about the temperatures in the west? Minus 13 in Regina, minus 12 in Edmonton, and just 6 degrees in Vancouver, minus 25 in Yellowknife. So yeah, sign of the times for sure. As we look ahead into next week, it is looking very chilly here. Not that chilly, but highs near the freezing mark, as you will see with the 7-day forecast. Tonight, temperatures ranging between 2 on the plus side along the coast in the Tri-County area. Most of us, though, in the 0 to -3 range to start tomorrow morning. Those showers moving east by 11 o'clock, starting to push their way across eastern parts of the mainland and out. And then for tomorrow, sunshine early, increasing clouds, but it's high cloud, then mid-level, then low level. So we will see the sun filtering through for a good portion of the day. And then here comes the rain into the Tri-County area right around this time tomorrow, maybe a few hours earlier, right in Yarmouth. Now, as we look at the temperatures tomorrow in Cape Breton, 4 or 5 degrees. Light winds. Oh, it will be a nice day in Cape Breton and across Antigonish and the Eastern Shore, including Guysborough County, looking very, very nice. Central area is pretty solid day here as well. We'll see the clouds building in, as I said, but we will see a pretty decent day. Winds becoming southeasterly, clouding up throughout the morning here in the west. Winds becoming southeasterly, and we are going to be looking at those showers moving in late afternoon, and then the rain right around supper time. In case you're joining us, just joining us and missed this off the top, mostly rain. Tri-County area, the Atlantic coastline could see some big wet flakes mixing in tomorrow evening as those temps do start to drop, but it is the Valley, Hants County, edging northern Halifax County, Pictou, Antigonish, and north of that line that we're looking at the best chance of seeing some accumulation Thursday night into Friday morning. 5 to 10 centimeters possible in the Cobequid Pass and in through the Cape Breton Highlands. Now, by the time we hit the road on Friday morning, most of us will have already transitioned to rain, if not all of us. You can see there's the timeline. There's our best chance of accumulation late evening into the early overnight. By Friday morning, this model really bullish on the transition. Already 2 in Amherst, and look at the temperatures along the Atlantic coastline. So not worried about the slushy start to the day along the Atlantic coastline. Inland, higher terrain areas, perhaps a bit of hangover from what fell overnight. Maybe a bit of leftover slush. But I think the greatest concern for that is going to be the Cobequid Pass in Mount Tom. Otherwise, we're looking at a pretty smooth start to Friday, though a wet start. And then we're going to be looking at, yes, the skies clearing out into Friday afternoon. Temperatures are going to start to drop Friday after those highs in the morning. So highs, I should say afternoon temperatures near 6, but we'll peak in the morning. Showers and flurries Saturday, temperatures near 4, even cooler Sunday. And yes, cooler Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Tom and Amy, that cold air looking set to remain in place right through the following weekend. So get ready for the winter gloves and tubes.
It's December coming up, right?
Here we go, exactly. Okay, Ryan, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Coming up, an historic night in Nova Scotia politics. We'll bring you highlights from the 3 leaders' speeches.
Thank you to my incredible team in the Pick the East campaign and the constituency office. Many of you have dedicated your lives to supporting me. I can't thank you enough. Thank you. We love you. Thank you to all of the volunteers on every single campaign across the province. Nobody gets elected alone. Nobody gets elected alone. I certainly did not get elected alone, that's for sure. My mom and my sister are here. Love you guys. Of course, my dad and my brother, I hold them close to me. They're never far from my heart. My Art and Vern, my in-laws, we love you guys. Thank you for everything you do for our family. Paget and Zachary, you guys were kids when we started on this, and now look at them now, adults with their own careers, their own opinions. We love you guys. We're so proud of you. And Carol, my lovely wife, what a journey. What an incredible journey. None of this would be possible with you. None of it would be possible without my family. So thank you so much. I know this hasn't been, politics not an easy profession. I know it's not easy on my family and the families of candidates across this province. So thank you for being so supportive to get us here where we are today. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone in this room. It's the greatest honor of my life to take this stage tonight and serve every Nova Scotian as their premier for 4 more years.
Thank you to Nova Scotians across this province for putting your faith in our amazing team. I have spoken to Tim and to Zach, and I've congratulated them on their campaigns. And while we had hoped for a different result tonight, make no mistake, our vision for a different kind of government has struck a nerve. And I am here to tell you that the Nova Scotia NDP is on the rise. People across this province, including, I'm guessing, most of you, cast their vote for a government that actually cares about all Nova Scotians. One that is more honest, more responsible to you, the people we serve. Our campaign was one of positivity and possibility for all of us. Our vision, a government that would protect renters, build affordable housing, and ensure that Nova Scotians can actually find homes that they can afford, is possible. A province where Nova Scotians have consistent primary care is possible. And we will not stop until it is real. Because tonight we've made it clear that the Nova Scotia NDP, that our incredible team is the alternative. Tonight, our incredibly effective opposition has grown, and we are now the official opposition.
You know, sometimes you lose. But I'm really proud of the campaign that we ran. It was built on ideas, on policies, and that's what we kept it about the whole way through. It wasn't about personal attacks. It wasn't about mudslinging. It was about ideas that could really help people. And I think that really matters, because that's when democracy works the best, folks. That's when it works the best, and that's when we get the best out of it. I want to congratulate Premier Houston. I want to congratulate Ms. Chender. They ran incredible campaigns, and the people of Nova Scotia have certainly decided who they want to lead this province. And we respect the voters' decisions and accept with humility in our hearts and with peace in our hearts what they've decided tonight. And that's our job now. And I know a lot of people will have a lot of theories on why this happened. But at the end of the day, this was my responsibility. And this loss belongs to me and me alone. And I'm okay with that. But we've got to move forward as a party and as a community. I really want to thank our local campaign team, family, friends, the staff that came down here that have fought so hard, not just this election, but for the last 14 years as I represented this area. It's been an incredible journey, honestly. It's been such a rewarding job. In the honor of my life to serve the people of Yarmouth, to represent them in the capacity as MLA, and to be the first party leader from Yarmouth as well. I'm just sorry I couldn't be the first premier from Yarmouth. We'll have to wait another time for that.
Coming up, federal opposition parties say they will not support the Liberal GST holiday unless the rebate is expanded.
If Donald Trump's threat to impose tariffs becomes reality, Canada's energy sector could take a big hit. Welcome back. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wants to give Canadians a GST holiday, but his Liberals need at least one opposition party to support the legislation.
And both the NDP and Bloc Québécois are making a key demand. Rafi Boudjikanian explains.
Hi, Prime Minister. Are you going to extend the checks to seniors, please, sir?
We had a great conversation with caucus today.
Even some members of the Liberal caucus say the government should at least consider budging.
And I would love to see, more ambition to support seniors who need a little bit of extra help.
Yeah, ideally it'd be nice to give $250 to everybody, and I could certainly sympathize with seniors to say, why aren't we getting it? So yeah, it'd be nice to give it to them.
Should it be different? Should it be bigger? I think that's a conversation worth having, and that's a conversation I'd like to have with my constituents. That's a conversation I'd like to have with my caucus.
The government presented its plan to bring some financial relief to Canadians last week, a temporary holiday on the goods and services tax, and $250 checks in the mail for workers who make up to $150,000 a year. That's the part which has both the NDP and the Bloc Québécois saying not happening.
For sure, if there's no seniors included in the announcement, we will vote against.
We will not support checks that exclude the vulnerable. People are hurting right now. Seniors are hurting amongst the most with their fixed incomes and the high cost of living.
Late this evening, the government appeared to bow to one NDP request. The legislation they introduced focuses only on the GST holiday, meaning the checks will be debated separately. But the House remains in gridlock over the Liberals refusing to hand over unredacted documents to the Conservatives regarding a police investigation into alleged misspending of federal money. A hurdle the NDP says it's willing to clear temporarily so the affordability measures can be addressed. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
2 days after Donald Trump announced his plan to introduce a 25% tariff on goods imported from Canada and Mexico, people on this side of the border are reacting with a mix of concern and skepticism. But as Paula Duhacek reports, it's hard to predict how this will play out.
If these tariffs were to go forward, it would be a huge hit to Canadian industry. According to the Canada Energy Regulator, last year Canadian crude oil exports were valued at $124 billion, and the vast majority of that went to the United States. Still, some experts say we should take this threat with a grain of salt. One former energy manager we spoke with says Trump's advisors are coming from the world of business, not government, and so that means their messages are going to be different from what people are used to hearing.
Politicians tend to speak with intention and purpose. A business person is going to speak with the idea of using it as strategy for the ultimate maneuver. And so that makes it more difficult to predict what is coming.
It's also worth pointing out that because the U.S. also depends on Canada for oil imports, this tariff plan would run counter to another Trump campaign promise to lower inflation and to make life more affordable for Americans. Still, while some in the industry see Trump's tariff threats as bluster and tactics, others warn we should take this threat seriously. The news outlet Reuters reporting that according to two sources close to the file, Trump has no plans to spare crude oil from this tariff plan. Plus, whether this particular tariff goes ahead or not, the conversation so far shows that trade relations between our two countries are off to a rocky start, to say the least. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Calgary.
Turning now to the latest in the Middle East, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon appears to be holding. The deal, brokered by the United States and France, came into effect early this morning. Thousands of displaced people have been streaming back into southern Lebanon, but many are facing vast devastation. The International Rescue Committee estimates more than 100,000 homes have been damaged or destroyed. The Israeli military now has 60 days to get all of its forces out of Lebanon. Hezbollah must pull its fighters back from the border area within the same time frame. There are now growing calls for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
Here in Canada, a hiker who'd been missing for 50 days in BC's northeastern backcountry has been found alive. The 20-year-old from Kamloops was found on a service road in a mountainous region where temperatures had been dropping below -20 at night.
He had cut his sleeping bag
and wrapped it around his legs and his feet. So he knew how to survive. It's amazing. Right now he's in Fort Nelson Hospital, and the parents are on their way.
Sam Benestick was first reported missing October 17th after failing to return home from a camping trip. A search and rescue operation was launched for the avid hiker, involving teams from across the province, canine units, and family members. But it was called off after 10 days. The local innkeeper says Benestick was extremely weak when he was found by well site workers.
A health and community service center in Montreal is stepping into the space age. It's the first in the country to be equipped with a medical scanner that's designed to provide a diagnosis for astronauts. Here on Earth, it'll help determine whether a patient should see a doctor. Brittany Enriquez explains.
With the shortage of doctors, this Montreal West Island Health Center is taking a cue from technology used to monitor the health of astronauts. This is the Bone Autonomous Care Unit. It checks up on 40 different health indicators within minutes. With 20,000 West Islanders currently on the waiting list for a family doctor, the CS hopes this technology can help bridge the gap.
We're trying to solve an access issue and ensuring that the right patient gets the right care by the right professional. So right now, access to a family physician is challenging. Patients that are on my waiting list could get routine checkups.
Once your data is analyzed, if anything alarming shows up, a nurse practitioner takes a look. Then, if necessary, the patient can be referred to a family doctor.
Help the doctor to understand.
The platform is also deployed at the Canadian Space Agency in Longueuil, Quebec, where it's undergoing rigorous testing to ensure it can be operated in space.
We are changing the model. The beauty is space programs want astronauts to be independent for their health care. Everybody on Earth wants to be independent for their health care. We all wish we could take care of ourselves better. We all wish we didn't have to go queue at the emergency room forever, to maybe be reassured everything is okay. So I think there's a promise there in technology.
The technology, it's all Health Canada grade pieces of tech that are connected together within the booth. And the technology was designed for astronauts, knowing that reliability, robustness, and accuracy is essential, whereas a watch is not a medical device. A watch is more of like a wellness application, so it gives you general insight.
AI can trigger some fears. Will computers be replacing human workers? Bond says that's not the goal.
We're not here to replace, we're here to give a tool to those professionals to have a better assessment, a collective assessment of multiple vital signs in one location, and helping them with time, helping them with a decision support system on the risk of a patient.
The West Island CS is aiming for 1,000 patients to use this system within a year. For now, it will be used for people with specific illnesses, but eventually they hope it can be used for prevention as well. Brittany Enriquez, CBC News, Montreal.
Some fans have managed to land discounted tickets to the upcoming Taylor Swift concert in Vancouver. They're thrilled, even though they won't have a view of the stage. The CBC's Maurice Katz looks at how resellers are making thousands off die-hard Swifties.
Taylor Swift tickets for $15? It's the latest twist in the Eras Tour Vancouver saga. Swifties looking for tickets to the sold-out 3-show finale got one more chance Monday when thousands of tickets were released. But the catch? Those tickets are behind the stage. Tickets were sold in a queue for $15 with a $1.50 fee and listed as no stage view seats. But when regular tickets are going for $5,000, $10,000, even $15,000, even just going for the vibes seems like a great deal.
When we're talking in Eras Tour ticket prices, that's literally pocket change. That's crazy.
And like all Taylor Swift tickets, resellers are trying to capitalize. The cheapest ticket listed on StubHub at publishing is over $1,800, with some available for over $4,000. Those who got tickets had to stay locked in on social media just to get into the online queue.
It's like a crazy adrenaline rush. So basically there's Swifties who have set up like vigilante bots that track for when Ticketmaster releases tickets, the same way that scalpers do. But the goal is to get true Swifties into the stadium rather than the resellers who are selling them on StubHub and other reseller markets at massive markups.
It's still not clear whether there'll be TV screens behind the stage showing the concert.
We'll see. We'll see when we get there. It might be completely obstructed, but again, just happy to get in the building. The people who are going for that aren't going for the Instagram photo. They're going to experience it. So I'm hoping it's going to be a great party.
Maurice Katz, CBC News, Vancouver.
Christmas may be just a few weeks away, but a group of girls in Montreal has been in the holiday spirit for months already, gathering items for a special project.
They've been working on it at their high school during their free time, acts of grace and giving. We'll let them tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Isabella DiCamillo. I'm in Sec 5 of John F. Kennedy High School, and we are currently doing the shoebox project for our girls group. These are for women and in shelters, so we make these boxes to give them something during the holidays.
So I started this girls group when the girls were in Sec 2. I was thinking, what can I do to teach the girls to give back to the society? I started off the first year with 50 boxes. We ended up doing 75, and then it went from 100 to 125, so this year we managed to do 125.
Yes. We start donations near the beginning of September, where we go around and we ask people to donate things like toothpaste, gloves, soaps, body washes, all that. One of the letters we put into the boxes, and they're all like messages to give them to raise their spirits. It means a lot to give back to people who are less fortunate than me, especially women who are struggling. They don't really have a lot of help nowadays, so it's nice to give back, especially during the holidays. It can be a little sad, when you don't have people who are in your corner,
But you guys are amazing. The girls group gives them a safe space to come at lunch, to speak. And you know what? They also encourage each other. If someone's having an issue with their parents, we openly talk.
It gives me a sense of community. I feel definitely a lot more close. It's like girls support girls, if you will.
I've known a few of these girls since grade 1, and now they're graduating. These girls are amazing, and I'm so proud of them. And I know that they'll leave JFK doing great things.
When we leave, the Sec 1s are going to end up taking over. They're probably not going to do as many just because it's their first year, but I just hope that by the time that they grow up and they're in Sec 5 like us, they probably will end up doing double the amount that we're doing now.
Canada's main stock index rose today, helped by strength in telecommunication and utility stocks, while U.S. markets moved lower. Here's a look at the numbers as we head to break. Yeah, couldn't help but notice some white stuff on the weather map there.
I know. Well, it is the season, right? Or almost.
Yeah. Well, listen, and we're not all going to see snow tomorrow night, but the chance for flurries into the weekend and the chilly temperatures for the next 7 to 10 days. I was showing you the map earlier today.
Yes, yeah.
Eastern North America is just going to be locked in this very cold pattern to start December. So be ready. Here we go. Your photos was starting with a nice shot here from Chester Basin. And beauty even when the skies are a bit gray. Nice reflection shot. Wendy mentioning the wind finally eased enough for a reflection picture here. And thanks to Wendy for sharing. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. So yeah, the Atlantic coastline, the Tri-County area, likely not going to see much, if any, accumulation. Just a few flakes possibly mixing in. But it's the northern half of the province that will see some light accumulation, but most of that will be washed away by the time we wake up on Friday morning. It's those areas in darker pink, Cumberland County, the Cobequid Pass in particular, that we're most concerned about for the Friday morning commute. Maybe a bit of leftover slushiness in places like Mount Tom as well on that 104 stretch. We are looking at Thursday. Pretty quiet day before the clouds build in. Friday, some sunshine behind the system. It's just the mess in between that we'll have to keep an eye on, obviously. And let's quickly show you the timeline. So there's that area of high pressure moving off. There's that low coming in. And again, a heavy snowfall event for New Brunswick if you're tracking, moving there or going to be traveling there on Friday. There's the chance for a shower or flurry on Saturday, but quite a bit of sunshine in the mix, though temperatures are going to be cool. Winds don't look too bad on Saturday. Sunday looks nice. We are looking at those shower flurry chances Monday into Tuesday, and notably cooler temperatures.
For sure. Okay, Ryan, thanks for that. The recent birth of a rare poodoo deer has created quite a stir at a biopark in Argentina.
Yeah, this tiny fawn named Lenga weighs just 1.2 kilos. The poodoo is one of the smallest species of deer in the world. As adults, they don't grow more than 0.5 meter in height and 12 kilos in weight.
Scientists hope better research on the elusive creatures will help save them from extinction in the wild.
They're cute, aren't they?
They sure are.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.